Hey y'all, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Can you like this video? Because a lot of times I'll have a video that has a lot of views and it doesn't get a lot of likes. And when you like this video, it goes up in the algorithm and people are able to see me in their recommendations, which in turn brings more people to my channel. So if you like me, make sure you like this video. Or you can dislike the video. If you don't like it, don't make me no difference because you came anyway, okay? Because you're here, you watched, and you participated. So let's get started. What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let's talk about it. It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. This is The Chi, Season 4, Episode 4. I think it's Episode 4. If I'm wrong, it'll be right in the description. All right, this episode was good. Now, two things that I noticed about this episode that were really like, okay, what the hell is going on with this show? Is that the music. Did y'all notice the music in this show was like extra dramatic and soap opera-y, especially on the Tracy and Rosalind scenes, or Rosalind, whatever her name is, and like sometimes even with the Kevin scenes and stuff like that. I'm like, what is going on with this dramatic ass music? Then number two, Dre, Nina, and the family have moved into a new home. All of a sudden they went from having a regular 2-bedroom apartment to having this big ass house, to having all of this furniture, knickknacks, antiques, looking like they've been living in the house for years and years. And they talking about they just moved with no explanation as to how this all happened. So, but other than that, I thought the show was pretty good. I don't want to waste any time. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we see, number one, Tiffany is getting ate up, honey. She is getting ate up, not by mosquitoes either, baby. She getting ate up by Dante, honey. He has got his face in the place, doing what needed to be done and giving what needs to be gave, which is head. Okay, boy, I remember what that felt like. I haven't had it in so long, I don't even remember anymore. Okay, so Emmett is also getting head from a young woman, but he doesn't seem like he's into it as much as Tiffany is into Dante. Okay, and I have some thoughts about Tiffany and Dante a little later on. We'll talk about that later. We also see everybody getting some, honey. Tracy getting some too. Tracy is waking up, honey, after a night of lust with this married man, laying up with that lady husband. Okay, she realizing what she's done. She goes downstairs and she sees that Duda is not there. Rosalind is there though. She's sitting down and eating breakfast and she's like, oh girl, you done slipped up and fell into the lion's den. You don't even know what you done did. Like I said, girl, you done messed around and slept with somebody's husband who don't even like you, sis. And she gonna use that shit against you as soon as she possibly can, okay? So I don't know why you did that. Y'all could have went to a hotel. Like, damn, y'all have to do it in the house. She tries to leave because she just want to go home, but she's like, nah, girl, you can't go home because the people is out there. The protest is out there because apparently you can't just secure one part of the city. You know what I'm saying? It's people everywhere. And I forgot to say last week, another thing is that we not just in the south side, like on the black neighborhoods, we in the other neighborhoods too. So you're just going to protect the black people who live on the south side. You're not going to protect anybody else. I was like, oh, okay, so that doesn't make any sense. This whole storyline don't make no sense. And so just like Rosa said, this shit don't make no sense. Blue lives do matter to these people out here, apparently. And they out there protesting, girl. So they ain't gonna be cute after you done spend all night rolling around the bed with this lady husband to go outside and them see you looking like you been rolled hard and put away wet. Okay, so you might as well just sign and eat you some breakfast, girl. Kevin is at therapy with Dre and his mama. And you know, he says he just feels like they're all over him. He can't get a break. Now, he says this after Nina says she can't get a break. But we see that Nina has some PTSD from the whole situation with Keisha last season. And she doesn't want to get a phone call that Kevin is laid up in the ditch somewhere. So that's why they all over him. But it don't seem like they all over his ass to me. Because he be out till 9, 10 o'clock every night. Who you know in high school just be gone. And don't come home till the nighttime. And nobody don't question him about nothing. And be drunk and high. Y'all can't be monitoring him too much. Because he's still doing what the hell he want to do. They're asking him, you know, if they gave him some more freedom, could he be trustworthy? And he says, yes, I think I can. And she was like, we done heard all this before. He was like, see what I'm talking about? They don't believe in me. He was like, listen, it's a fresh slate. We're on a fresh slate right now. We believe you. We believe that you can be trustworthy. So they're going to try to do something new. Duda's meeting with the principal about everything that happened last week. And Jake and Jim is waiting outside the office. And the principal is pissed. He basically says he's going to put a moratorium on her show because, you know, her guest incited violence. I don't know how he incited violence, but apparently he incited violence. Duda's like, you don't need to apologize to these people because I probably would have saying the same shit, okay? So she's like, well, when can we do the show? He was like, when all this dies down, then you can do it. So when racism is over with, then I can do my show. She's like, this some bullshit. And see, that's when me and Gemma, we just parted ways. I told y'all, Gemma get on my nerves already. And now you being disrespectful. Now, don't get me wrong. The principal is a little closed-minded. But at the same time, it's like, Gemma, girl, you can't just be cursing the principal out. Like, I don't know what these new kids, like, y'all think y'all could just cuss people out. Like, that's just inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? So she cussed him out. Even dude, I was like, all right, now you're doing too damn much. Now, I'm going to need you to chill. You need to calm down. And then she said something else, and she was like, fuck this school. And she walked out. I was like, okay, girl. Okay, I mean, you know, Kevin called her spoiled, but low-key, she is spoiled. That's how she act. Because if you notice, Jake went to say something, and dude, I was like, hey, watch your mouth. Now, don't get too sporty, okay? You ain't her. You with me. When they leave, the principal's like, what happened to a good old-fashioned ass whooping? And dude, I was like, it don't work no more. And he was like, I think it's better to teach them to use their words or whatever. And he was like, this is what happened when you teach them to use their words. And he was like, yeah, they start thinking for themselves. I agree with both people. You know, I'm not saying you should beat your kids, but at the same time, your kids shouldn't be cursing out people just willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to learn how to get your agenda across without being disrespectful, but whatever. You see the young girl that Imani was trying to help last week, and Nuke, they at their grocery store or something, a little corner store, and she goes in there and she sees Imani, and her and Imani talk about how they're going to meet up later because, you know, they're going to get her out of there. She says she thinks she can sneak away, and, you know, she can go stay by somebody or they'll figure it out. So they plan to meet up, and she gives her a phone. Keisha meets with another family. It's a husband and wife. They have several adopted kids. They cannot have kids. And everything was going pretty good until they got up to leave. And he says, okay, well, you know, it's nice to meet you. I know that you're going to make a godly decision. And she was like, hold on, what you mean a godly decision? He was like, well, you already made a godly decision by not killing your baby. So, you know, I know that you're going to make the best decision about who the parent's going to be. And she was like, God didn't have nothing to do with it. And she was like, yes, he does. He has to do with everything, you know, says God. You know, not only do we read the Bible, we follow the Bible in our house, and so do our little angels. It got a little real Jesus-y. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, okay, y'all making the wrong impression or whatever. And you could tell that she didn't like that, and she's not about to pick them to do nothing. That's when we find out they move into this new house with all this nice ass vintage furniture and artifacts and shit like we ain't never seen in that little bitty ass apartment they was living in. I was like, okay, somebody was down to the home goods or something, or down to the Pottery Barn, baby, because it was a whole lot of new going on, and, you know, the stuff didn't look new. It looked lived in and nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was confused. Anybody else was confused? Because they just kind of threw it out there real quick, like, oh, yeah, we got more room now because we just moved. And I was like, okay. So we see Gemma and Jake, they're meeting with Bam, and they're going to stage a walkout. So at the end of the damn day, when you get ready to leave anyway, they're going to get up and walk out at 3 o'clock. And Kevin is not with this shit. He said he just got his freedom. He ain't trying to mess it up. And they was like, boy, you sound like a runaway slave. And he was like, nah, you know, I just told my parents I'm going to be more responsible, and I don't want to lose their trust. Jimmy was like, well, it's good trouble. Your parents are going to be proud of you. And he was like, yeah, but, you know, basically I don't want to lose their trust. You know, what if the cops get called or whatever? And Jimmy was like, ain't no cops going to get called. And he was like, that's how you acting like a spoiled rich girl. You know, even if they did get called, your parents will have the money to get you out of jail or whatever, like you acting spoiled and rich. But I want to be like, y'all was living in a 2-bedroom apartment, now you live in a nice ass house, so your mama probably got money to get you out of jail, Kevin, but ain't nobody calling the police on y'all. But whatever, Kevin, he just didn't want to help. He didn't want to be a part of it, and I understand why to a certain degree, because he just had this talk with his parents, and now, you know, he's gonna fail them by getting in trouble right after that. So I understand that. Tiffany and Keisha, they're talking about, you know, the relationship between them or whatever. She was telling them that she didn't want to pick the family, and, you know, she talks about the kid, you know, we love our babies, but, you know, we pitiful over here. Would you give your kid to us? She was like, hell no. She was like, that's what I'm talking about. I know you wouldn't give your kid to us. Like, that's why you don't need to be a mama. It's stressful. It's hard to be a mother. And me and Emmett are barely making it. And she like, what's going on? She was like, girl, I can't tell you, girl. It's not your business. Don't worry about it. It'll be all up in my business. And she was like, girl, we used to share that nigga. Okay, what happened? So as she's about to tell him what's going on, Emmett walks up and interrupts them, and he brings her to the back, and he tells her, basically, she's pissed at him because he had sex with that girl, and the girl used to work with her at Seaway. And he's like, we're open now. I can do it with whoever I want to. And she's like, you can't do it with her, and we definitely need to establish some rules, because he brings up Dante and how you keep screwing him, and you must like going back to him because you keep going back to him or whatever, and they need to set some rules for this relationship. And he says about who we can, she says about who we can be with more than one time and all this kind of stuff. He's like, nobody. You can tell that Emmett is clearly not down with this, which I don't understand why he won't just be like, listen, I messed up. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm not going to do it again. It was before we got married. I haven't been with anybody else since we've been married. I love you. I know I'm a fuck up, but I'm going to do better. And I don't want you to be with other people. Like, he needs to learn how to express himself. You feel what I'm trying to say? Then we see Imani waiting in the car for the girl to show up. She never shows up. Jake and Gemma, they're handing out flyers at the school, and Kevin walks up with a good disposition today, and he says that he asked them if they need any help, and they're like, nah, we don't need no help or whatever. And he was like, talks to Gemma on the side. She was like, I thought you wasn't trying to get in trouble. He was like, well, you know, I just can't be on the front line with y'all. I didn't say I didn't want to help. I can't do that. And she was like, well, what about the revolution? He was like, ain't no damn revolution, girl. What is you talking about?
It's our revolution.
Well, if my freedom gets taken away, how am I going to do with the revolution? You know, basically, like, if I mess over my parents and get in trouble, girl, like, how am I going to be out here helping you guys fight the revolution, sis? And she get pissed and she walked away, and Jake puts the flyer on his chest and they go on into class. More dramatic ass music. I was just like, y'all, where is this dramatic, horrible music coming from? It was horrible. Keisha, she goes down to visit Octavia at her job. This is my girl Tabby, okay? So she goes visit Tabitha Brown / Octavia at her job, and we see that she's an architect. And when she gets there, the receptionist has really nice words to say about her. She's a private person, but she's a very nice person, and she even gave her money when her family member passed away. And, you know, she's a good person, basically. She handled her business, and you know, she's a nice person. So she goes in there to see her. She's kind of looking over her stuff, and she talks to her for a little bit about her architecture. And then she's like, well, what kind of building would I be? And she was like, well, you know, girl, I deal with buildings. I don't deal with people, you know. And she was like, well, if I was a building, what kind of building would I be? And she's like, okay, you would be a strong building. You will be something that could survive hurricanes and floods and so forth and so on. So as she's leaving, she starts to have contractions. Like, I thought she might have been going into labor because she looks pretty pregnant, you know. So thought maybe she was going into labor or having Braxton Hicks. Y'all, I thought I was having Braxton Hicks last weekend, because Friday I was having these contractions that feel like a knot in the front of my stomach. And it happened like every 6 or 7 minutes, you know, it would come back. It was weird. You know what I'm saying? But it stopped after a while. But it did happen for a little while. And I was like, I wonder if this is the beginning of Braxton Hicks, or what, you know, they start to feel like or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. And so they end up going to the hospital. So the kids are at school and the clock is ticking and it's time to do the walkout. So Gemma and Jake walk out, honey, and the teacher like, where y'all going? Where you going? You don't have permission to leave in class. And they get down to the principal's office, and Dee is there, the white girl. She is there because the revolution will not be televised, but nobody else ain't come, baby. Apparently they was waiting for the TV cameras to show up, because didn't nobody show up but them 3 people. And so they demand to talk to the principal, okay? She has such an attitude. Gemma get on my mother nerves, okay? Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, she is a disrespectful little wench. She might turn out to be, you know, Asada Shakur. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But for right now, she get on my damn nerves. And child, they done did all of this, and the principal is at the dentist's office. He ain't even at the school, child. Y'all could at least made sure he was gonna be there. They decide to pull the fire alarm, or Jake does decide to pull the fire alarm and get everybody out of class. Like I said, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They probably was about to get out of class anyway, but okay. Tracy at the house, you know, all day she at the house with these people. She trying on dresses with dick on the breath. I said, girl, you ain't even wash your ass and your underarms, and you out here trying on these dresses. And, you know, her and Duda discuss how they're using each other. She want to be seen and she want to be heard, and he using her to help boost his, you know, image in the community. And so they kissing all on each other. Girl ain't even brush her teeth, but they kissing on each other and all of that. And, you know, he said he looking at her right now. I think, honestly, that they're going to start to really like each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just going to be a sexual thing. Or he gonna mess over her and she gonna be a woman scorned type of situation, because Tracy look like she can cause some damage, okay? Kevin is eating by himself, looking all sad, and Papa comes over to him, is like, man, how many times you gonna deny your queen? Basically saying, sir, you ain't gonna have no woman. You keep not doing what this girl wants you to do all the time. And he was like, listen, I always put her needs first. I just put my needs first this one damn time. I mean, damn, you know what I'm saying? And now she mad at me or whatever. And he was like, okay, well, maybe y'all should come on my show and work it out. And he was like, man, we're not finna go on no show work it out. He said, that's your damn problem right there. You're selfish. You don't want to help your mama. You don't want to help your girlfriend. You don't want to help your damn self. Okay, I'm trying to help you help yourself, and you didn't even want to do that. That's why you sitting up here by yourself eating fucking tater tots, nigga, and grass. And he walked away from him. I love Papa. Papa is everything to me. He is so wise for his young age. Then we see Emmett and Tiffany. They're in the car and they're talking about these rules that they got to establish for the relationship. You know, they can't mess with nobody that used to work with another person. And she can't do this and you can't do that. And Tiffany was getting on my nerves because, girl, you was laid up with this nigga. And she's like, he's off the table. We wasn't talking about him. You know, like before we had this conversation, he was already on the table or whatever. But I don't really like it. I don't like the situation or whatever. Emmett is not right for what he did. Okay, we're not going to let him off the hook. But I feel like Tiffany is not taking advantage of the situation. But you know what I'm saying? Like, she dragging it at this point. Like, you want to be with him or you're not going to be with him. But you can't do this man like this and expect for him to want to stay married to your ass. Like, I don't know. You can't reluctantly pull somebody into a open relationship. I would feel the same if he wanted to do it and she really did it. You know what I mean? This situation not gonna turn out good for nobody. After this is over with, guess where she go to? Dante's house, and she hugging and kissing on him like ooh baby. Not I'm just coming over to get some. It's like, ooh baby, I like you and I might want to be with you. Then we see Imani. She shows up at the community, you know, policing center, and she blow up the spot about this girl. So she tells Trig he need to handle his shit, okay, or she gonna handle it real loud. We also see Keisha at the hospital, and she gets seen by the doctor, and the doctor tells her that she has high blood pressure and he wants to induce labor today. And they like, today? Hold up, today? What you mean today? Nina is texting and calling Dre, but Dre is not answering the phone because Dre is with Jada. I guess she's getting her chemo treatment. She's sitting with her and she's like, man, listen, you know, I'm going to have to tell Nina something at some point. Like, she's starting to get a little anxious. You know, I can't keep keeping this secret. And she was like, I just don't want you to tell her before I tell Emmett. I want to have a chance to tell him first. I'm going to tell him tomorrow. And she's like, well, you better say something because I can't keep lying to her, you know, about what's going on. And she was calling right then when they was talking. But then we see Jake and Gemma. They're at a restaurant and, you know, they're at a little diner or whatever. And they're talking about what happened. And, you know, he do the little eyelash, you know, take the little eyelash off her face. And she kisses him. Now, he didn't kiss her. He kissed him, and then he kissed her back. Okay, so they was kissing. Trig pulls up on Nuke, and he wants to know what happened to the girl. He pull out the gun. It's like 10 niggas with guns around him, and he like, I ain't scared to die. I die, nigga. Where she at? So we don't see the end result of that conversation, but we'll find it out at the end of the episode. And Octavia is talking to Keisha, and you can tell that Nina is a little bit jealous. Anybody get that off of Nina, that she's a little bit jealous that her and Octavia can talk to each other so freely or whatever, that Keisha is so open with her. But basically, she's like, what did you have to eat today? And she tells her what you had to eat. Okay, well, you need to drink some water and just lay down for a little while, and we're going to get the doctor to come check you again, because the doctor just be trying to rush you up out of this hospital. Anything that's going to get you home, because he already said he got so many clients, and he didn't even know her name when he came into the room, right? And Nina was like, you think you know better than the doctor? And she was like, no, I don't, but I absolutely have lost enough babies to where I know what happens in the hospital process. And so she was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you. But then when she leave out the room, she was like, well, I think we should just wait to hear what the doctor says. I was like, girl, now you being a hater, okay? And I can understand it's the doctor, but y'all know how doctors be messing over black women especially, okay? So like I said, he didn't even know her name, talking about he got so many patients. So you know he trying to get her up in and up out of there. And we see Emmett and his son, he go to visit Jada, and Suede answers the door, and he's like, man, she tired. Why she tired? Why she resting from all that dick you been giving her? If y'all say y'all finna get married, I'm finna leave, and y'all ain't gonna never see me again. Emmett, stop lying. That ain't the truth. You know we gonna see your ass again. But he goes and he sees his mama throwing up in the bathroom. And of course he assumes she's pregnant because he has so many damn kids. Okay, he thinks everybody is pregnant and every sickness is a result of pregnancy. But she looks up and she tells him that she has cancer, and he has a look of shock on his face. I felt bad for him in that moment. We back to Keisha, and guess what? The doctor is checking her and her blood pressure is just fine. He was like, well, I'm glad it was temporary. And he kind of scoot his ass up out of the room. You can tell he was shamed. You ought to be shamed, okay? In the words of my grandmother, you ought to be shamed. Trying to rush this girl into having this baby because she had high blood pressure for 5 minutes. Sir, she just had some contractions. Now, why wouldn't her blood pressure be a little bit elevated, right? Keisha tells Octavia, you are the one. You're the one. Everybody telling me, trust my gut. You are the one. And she hugs her and tells her that you are a blessing. And like I said, Nina is looking like she just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit jealous. Okay, just have a little feeling like, damn, I wish I could hug on my daughter and talk to her like that, and she wouldn't, turn away from me or whatever. Kevin got flowers because he has went on Papa's show and said he was sorry for everything he did or whatever, and he's been calling Gemma. She not answering the phone. She was with Jake, and they walking out the place, and she's like, well, okay, well, what do we do now? And Jake was like, I don't know what to do, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, you kiss, we kiss. He said, no, you kiss me. And she was like, well, you kiss me back. And he was like, and she just turns around and walks away. He was like, girl, where you going? Your goofy ass, you live this way. I'm like, listen, Kevin might get on your nerves, but if I had to pick between the two, I'm going to pick Kevin. Because Jake ain't worried about you. He was just getting his D sucked in the bathroom by the white girl who walked out with y'all. Like, I understand. Gemma, you're not making smart decisions, sis. Dre is at home. She has brought food back for the whole family. And Nina comes home. She's pissed. And Dre lies to her and tell her she was at work. And she have to turn off the phone during her session. And then at the same time, Kevin comes home and he has flowers for them, right? And they're like, oh, okay, the therapy must really be working and all of that. So they put the flowers in the fresh water or whatever. And they go on to eat dinner. We see that Emma gets home with the baby and Tiffany is there to greet him or whatever. And he sits down at the table and she's like, what's wrong? And he was like, how do you always know when something is wrong? And she's like, because we're connected. And he was like, well, he doesn't say anything. He just starts to cry. So I'm assuming that he's going to tell her that his mom has cancer or whatever. And at this point, no matter what's going on between us, you tell me your mama got cancer and you my husband, I'm not going to be running to go screw nobody else, open relationship or not, okay? So, I feel like if Tiffany is still running over there with Dante, it's something else that's going on. Because we can clearly see that Emmett is not trying to be out here screwing people. He's just doing it just because I guess he feel like he have to because she doing it too. So then we see Nina gets a text from Jada. No, Nina finds a text from Jada in Dre's phone in the middle of the night. And she reads it and it says something like, thank you for keeping our secret. And I was like, oh Lord, she gonna go to assuming stuff that's not true. Like, I wish they would just hurry up and tell her what's going on. Now she can because Emmett knows. So we'll see how that plays out. And then we see Trig come home and he tells Imani, he asks Imani, did he give her the phone? And he has the phone with her. So as soon as she sees the phone, the girl is nowhere to be found. He tells her that the girl's body was found on, some street. And she is pissed. She's upset because basically if he had did something a little bit sooner, that girl might still be alive. And you can tell that Trig really feels guilty. But like I said, you can't police the community if you are also a criminal in the community. Like, how does that work? Okay, I don't know how this storyline is supposed to make any sense, y'all. It just don't make no sense to me. And I see a lot of y'all agree with me in the comments. Like, this is a reach. And I see they're trying to do relevance, things that are relevant to today and what's going on today, but it just doesn't make any sense. So I thought it was a good episode other than that horrible music they had playing in the episode. Who wrote that horrible music? It was horrible. I felt like I was watching a bad nighttime soap opera, and the fact that they moved from a 2-bedroom regular looking ass apartment to this really nice house with no type of explanation. We're gonna move, no boxes, no nothing, right? And they just moved into this house with all this nice ass furniture and all these things. And the house looks lived in. It's no explanation whatsoever. But other than that, it was a decent episode. So I want to hear what you guys thought about this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And share this video with all your friends. And I will holler at y'all next week. Peace.